My neighbor Karen illegally cut down a 150-year-old heritage oak tree worth $240,000. When it fell, it completely destroyed her house. And then, she had the audacity to sue me. This is that story. Dramatic footage of destroyed house with tree through roof. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I share real HOA horror stories, neighbor nightmares, and property disputes that'll make your jaw drop. And today's story? It's an absolute doozy. Before we dive in, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell because you do not want to miss the updates on this case. Trust me, the ending is chef's kiss perfect. Alright, let's get into it. So this all started when I inherited my grandmother's property in Northern California back in 2022. Beautiful 3-acre lot with a historic Victorian house built in 1890. But the crown jewel? A massive 150-year-old valley oak tree right in the center of the property. This wasn't just any tree. It was a certified heritage tree, protected by county ordinances. It had a canopy spread of over 100 feet. Arborists estimated it was worth between $200,000 to $240,000 based on size, age, species, and historical significance. My grandmother had planted gardens around it, we'd had family reunions under its shade, and it was literally part of our family history. I had zero intention of ever touching that tree. Enter Karen. Real name Linda Patterson, but we're calling her Karen because, well, you'll see why. She bought the property next door about 6 months after I inherited mine. From day one, Karen had complaints. The tree blocked her view of the hills. The leaves fell into her yard in autumn. Acorns dropped on her driveway. Birds in the tree were too loud in the morning. I'm not making this up. She sent me 17 letters in the first 3 months demanding I cut down the tree. I politely explained every single time that it was a protected heritage tree, and I legally couldn't remove it even if I wanted to. Photos of complaint letters. I even offered to pay for gutter guards on her house and scheduled quarterly cleanups of any debris that fell on her property. But that wasn't good enough for Karen. No, she wanted that tree gone. September 15th, 2023. A day that will live in infamy. I was at work, about 30 miles away, when I got a call from my other neighbor, Mr. Rodriguez. He's frantic on the phone. There's a tree-cutting crew at Karen's house, and they're cutting down your oak tree. I literally felt my heart drop into my stomach. I immediately called the county code enforcement, the sheriff's department, and jumped in my car. But by the time I got there, 30 minutes later, it was too late. They were already halfway through the trunk. I screamed at them to stop, showed them the property line, showed them the heritage tree documentation. The crew boss looked at Karen, and Karen just smirked at me and said, "Oops, must have made a mistake with the property line." Now, here's where it gets good. Professional arborists know how to control the direction a tree falls, right? They use wedges, ropes, strategic cuts. But Karen had hired the cheapest crew she could find. Basically 3 guys with a chainsaw and a ladder. I tried to warn them. The tree was leaning slightly toward Karen's house because of wind patterns over the decades. Any competent arborist would have accounted for that. But these guys, they ignored me completely. The sheriff's deputy had just arrived when the final cut went through. We all heard the crack. That massive, beautiful 150-year-old tree started to fall. Everything happened in slow motion, and it fell directly onto Karen's house. We're talking a tree with a trunk 4 feet in diameter and branches the size of normal trees. It came down like the hammer of God. Dramatic recreation or stock footage of tree falling. The impact was catastrophic. The main trunk went through her roof like it was made of cardboard, straight through the second floor and into her living room. Branches shattered windows, demolished her deck, crushed her garage, and totaled 2 cars in the driveway. Karen is standing there, screaming. Not at the tree crew, not at herself, at me. She's blaming me for planting the tree too close to the property line, and saying I should have maintained it better. The sheriff's deputy looked at her and said, "Ma'am, you just hired people to illegally cut down a protected tree on someone else's property. You need to stop talking right now." But did she stop? Absolutely not. She started demanding I pay for the damage to her house because it was my tree. The audacity was unreal. I immediately contacted a property attorney who specialized in tree law. Yes, that's a real thing. And when I showed him the documentation, the photos, the letters from Karen, and the sheriff's report, his eyes lit up. He told me this was one of the most clear-cut cases, pun intended, he'd ever seen. We had everything. Proof of ownership, heritage tree certification, documentation of her complaints, witnesses to her directing the tree crew, and a sheriff's deputy who saw the whole thing. In California, when someone illegally cuts down your tree, you can sue for triple damages. That's right, 3 times the value of the tree. So my $240,000 tree? That's $720,000 in potential damages. Plus legal fees, emotional distress, loss of property value, and punitive damages. We filed suit against Karen within 2 weeks. Now, any reasonable person would have accepted responsibility, worked with their insurance, and tried to settle quietly. But Karen? Oh no. Karen decided to double down. She filed a countersuit against me. She claimed that I was negligent in maintaining the tree, that I should have known it was a hazard, and that I'm responsible for all the damage to her property. Her lawsuit claimed $450,000 in damages for the house repairs, loss of use of her home, emotional distress, and get this, loss of property value because now there's no beautiful tree next door. The same tree she paid to have cut down. You literally cannot make this stuff up. During the discovery phase, things got even more interesting. We subpoenaed Karen's communications, and what we found was gold. Turns out, Karen had consulted with 3 different tree removal companies before finding the crew she hired. All 3 legitimate companies told her the same thing. That's not your tree, it's on your neighbor's property, it's a protected heritage tree, and we won't touch it. She had emails, text messages, even a recorded phone call where she explicitly told the crew, I don't care about permits, just cut it down while he's at work. This was premeditated. Even better, her homeowner's insurance denied her claim because the damage resulted from her own intentional illegal act. She was on the hook for all the repairs out of pocket. Of course, in 2023, nothing stays private. Someone in the neighborhood posted photos of the destroyed house on the local Facebook group, and the story went viral. Local news picked it up, then regional news, then national news. Neighbor cuts down $240,000 tree. It destroys her house was everywhere. TikTok, Reddit, Twitter, everyone was talking about it. The comment sections were brutal. People were calling it instant karma, divine justice, cosmic revenge. My favorite comment was, that tree waited 150 years for the perfect moment to take revenge. But here's what really touched me. The neighborhood rallied around me. People I barely knew started a GoFundMe for my legal fees. Local environmental groups offered expert witnesses. The Historical Society provided documentation of the tree's significance. Mr. Rodriguez, my neighbor who called me that day, organized a community meeting. Over 50 people showed up to sign a petition supporting me and condemning Karen's actions. It was overwhelming. Even better, the county code enforcement hit Karen with $75,000 in fines for illegal removal of a heritage tree without permits. Those fines doubled when she missed the payment deadline. Karen had become the most hated person in a 20-mile radius. She couldn't show her face anywhere without people recognizing her as that tree lady. The trial finally happened in March 2024, about 6 months after the incident. It lasted 3 days, and it was an absolute circus. Karen's lawyer tried every trick in the book, claimed I was exaggerating the tree's value, said it was a danger that would have fallen eventually, tried to paint me as a vindictive neighbor who wanted to ruin her financially. But we had 3 independent arborist appraisals all valuing the tree between $200,000 and $240,000. We had the heritage tree certification. We had her emails proving premeditation. We had witness testimony from the sheriff's deputy. The most damning moment? When they played the recording of Karen telling the tree crew to just cut it down despite knowing it wasn't her tree. You could see the jury's faces. It was over. After less than 2 hours of deliberation, the jury came back. And folks, it was everything I could have hoped for. The jury found in my favor on all counts. They awarded me $240,000 for the tree value, tripled to $720,000 under California's tree law statute, plus $85,000 in legal fees, plus $50,000 in punitive damages for her willful and malicious conduct. But wait, it gets better. They also dismissed her entire countersuit with prejudice, meaning she can never refile it. And the judge ordered her to pay MY legal fees for defending against her frivolous lawsuit, another $40,000. So let's do the math. Karen is on the hook for $855,000 to me, $40,000 for my defense costs, $150,000 in county fines, plus an estimated $300,000 to repair her house that insurance won't cover. That's over $1.30 million. Karen tried to appeal, but it was denied. She listed her destroyed house for sale, but couldn't find a buyer. Eventually, she declared bankruptcy and the property went into foreclosure. Last I heard, she moved out of state to live with family. The property was bought by a developer who completely demolished what was left and built a new house. As for me, I used part of the settlement money to plant 3 new oak saplings on my property in memory of the original tree. They won't be 150 years old in my lifetime, but maybe my grandkids will see them reach that age. So what can we learn from this absolute disaster? First, never, under any circumstances, cut down a tree that's not on your property. I don't care how annoying it is. The legal consequences are severe. Second, document everything. Every complaint, every letter, every conversation. That documentation saved me in court. Third, if you have a heritage or protected tree, get it properly certified and appraised. You never know when you'll need that documentation. And finally, sometimes karma works immediately. Karen literally destroyed her own house trying to spite me. You truly cannot write better poetic justice. All right, everyone, that's the story. If you enjoyed this absolutely wild tale of neighbor revenge, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell for more insane HOA and neighbor stories. Drop a comment below with your own neighbor horror stories. I read every single one. And let me know, do you think the settlement amount was fair? Or should it have been even higher? Thanks so much for watching, and remember, don't mess with heritage trees, and definitely don't mess with your neighbor's property. I'll see you in the next video.